With Star Citizen patch 4.1, the MX variant of the Guardian heavy fighter shipped, slapping a beefed up missile armament and bringing the pain. Basically, MX means missiles. But given the success of the original, how does the Guardian MX perform in-game? I'm Forrester, and this video will review the currently flyable Mirai Guardian MX, which is described on the Star Citizen website as a heavy fighter. If you've seen other ship reviews on this channel, then you'll be right at home with this video, which follows the usual format. It's split into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour, assessing combat performance, reviewing handling and visibility, looking at the operating costs and profitability, before finally summarising. As always, I've included timestamps in the video description in case you want to skip ahead. And if you're one of the many people watching who isn't yet subscribed to the channel, you might consider it so you can be notified of future Star Citizen videos as they go live. And this review of the MX is based on performance in Star Citizen Alpha 4.1. And starting the tour for the Guardian MX, we approach from the back of the ship. Move all the way around before returning to the rear elevator. It's a very nice looking ship as we walk past the left or port side. On the front wings there are some useful features for pilots. On the starboard wing there's a button which gives access to some personal storage. On the port or left side wing there is a small weapons locker on the exterior of the ship. It's also possible to enter the canopy directly from the front. Moving towards the rear, we can call the elevator via a button on the right hand side, the starboard side. This deploys a small lift, which can then be used to hop up into the ship itself. Because there is a door sealing this area, it is in effect airlocked whilst in use. In this rearmost section is some component access, including to the jump drive and quantum drive. There's also a weapons locker. And armour suit storage. This section includes plenty of component access for different elements. In the middle section of the Guardian MX is an engineering section. There's some more component access, including for a relay which has one of the 2 relay fuses fitted by default. And there's also an engineering terminal, not currently functional in patch 4.1, but perhaps in the near future. On the opposite side is some more component access and some personal storage to the ship inventory. Moving further forward, there's a sort of mid-section which doesn't have any useful features, just some decorative ventilation elements, before entering into the pilot seat from the rear. From an armament perspective, the MX carries 4 size 4 weapons, defaulting to Rhino laser repeaters. That contrasts to the 2 size 5s on the base Guardian, giving the MX marginally less primary weapon firepower than the original in stock configuration. The missile complement, however, is strengthened, with 24 size 2 missiles equipped, up from 16 on the base model. The launcher is bespoke, so can't be swapped out, although the choice of size 2 missile can be. Defensively, the MX carries 2 size 2 shield generators, which doubles up the provision from the original Guardian. That gives the MX much more staying power in a fight, and puts it on a par with ships like the F-8C for shields. Altogether, the combat performance of the ship ends up being similar to that of the base model. The marginal decrease in firepower isn't really noticeable, and the provision of extra missiles gives a boost when fighting up. The MX is comfortable in fights against heavier NPC fighters and small multi-crew ships, and whilst smaller fighters can often run rings around it, the firepower is enough that just a few seconds of fire will often do the trick. Much like the base Guardian, power distribution is important, however, ensuring those hungry weapons have enough juice to operate. When things go wrong, the claim timer is just over 8 minutes, expedited to just over 2 minutes. The cockpit in the MX is a bubble-style canopy right at the front of the ship, which offers good visibility to the front, sides and below. It also features a deployable canopy armour, which introduces some extra cockpit struts for supposedly boosting the health of the cockpit module. This can be toggled on and off with a button on the console. Additionally, much like the base Guardian, the roller coaster style seat harness can sometimes obstruct the view when looking out to the sides. Much of the Mirai MO is about performance, and like MISC, that involves incorporating some cool alien tech in human designs. That's to be seen in the Guardian MX in the form of the engines, which rotate around in an unusual fashion and make the ship seem more manoeuvrable. That said, the MX variant is a little less nimble than the base model, owing to the double shield generators and extra missiles taking up more space. The SCM limiter defaults to 208 meters per second, and at those speeds the MX flies like a heavy fighter might. Tighter turns at top speeds will drift, but with boost the ship follows the nose fairly quickly. One thing pilots need to watch out for is the tendency to experience G-force limits on the pilot, whether that's blackout or just as commonly, redout. Outside of atmospheric constraints, the Guardian MX can reach a top speed of 1,100 meters per second. That makes both speeds marginally less than the base Guardian, but still fast enough for chasing down and engaging a range of targets. With the stock quantum drive equipped, the MX can travel across Stanton comfortably on a single tank. The running costs of the Guardian MX fall into two camps. Generally speaking, repair and refuel requests are fairly cheap to place, often in the low thousands of Alpha UEC. Replacing those missiles, however, can add up quickly, potentially up to 100,000 Alpha UEC for a full load. Despite the large complement, they seem designed to be used sparingly. Insofar as options to make that money back, combat contracts are the obvious choice, where the Guardian MX can complete a wide range of different patrols, bounties and other space combat missions with decent efficiency. The sweet spot seems to be larger fighters or small multi-crew ships. There is some storage space available for loot goblins to use to do bunker runs, although there may be stronger choices for that loop. And there's no cargo grid aboard for a reason. Whilst some might be tempted to use the rear lift to bring 1SU boxes up into the internal space, it's unwieldy to do so, and there are far better choices to use for the smallest hauling missions, which are accessible cheaply. Long story short, the MX is a combat ship. By way of upgrades, the Guardian MX comes as stock with a lot of military-grade components, which is a really helpful trait. That means there aren't too many changes to make. One thing to watch out for those considering an upgrade or tweaking power settings is that one of the coolers is a size 1 and the other a size 2. They're not the same in power usage and output or efficiency, but the stock performance of the MX manages well. The Guardian MX inherits much of the strong performance from the base Guardian, which has been a good heavy fighter. The MX fights well, is fun to fly, and looks pretty good too. It has some larger components than the base Guardian, hinting at larger potential in the future. There's internal access to the components and an engineer station, which suggests it may be future-proof to some extent, with the potential for limited self-repair or performance tuning, although for now, they don't do much. But the Guardian MX makes some sacrifices too. The removal of the bed from the base model is a shame, effectively making the MX more of a short-term rather than long-range fighter in the future, and, in the short term, removing the ability to conveniently log out in the ship. It's marginally less armed, marginally less manoeuvrable, and the extra missiles it carries makes it more expensive to lean into its specialism. There's also an annoying bug where the HUD seems to reboot when entering or exiting quantum drive. At a launch price of $270 to $290, there is a price premium over the base Guardian. For my money, the Guardian MX seems expensive for what you get, and if the idea of the ship appeals, I'd lean more towards the base Guardian. Still expensive, but less so, and performs much the same in-game, but with the addition of the heavier guns and the bed. The MX is still cool, but I struggle to justify the price premium. But perhaps you disagree and are a big fan of the Guardian MX. I look forward to reading your thoughts in the video comments. I genuinely do. It's been really interesting reading your thoughts on the recent Constellation Taurus review, for example, about whether I'm too biased towards the Zeus CL. But anyway, at the risk of rambling, if you enjoyed this video, you might press the like button to help me understand what videos to make more of in future, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you might like to do that too, so that YouTube knows to show you more videos like this in future. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.